You can have every physical need met, a comfortable environment, and a life that looks perfectly fine on paper, yet still feel a deep, inexplicable sense of melancholy. Most of us have experienced this lingering, quiet dissatisfaction. When we hit this wall, we often blame our jobs, our relationships, or just bad luck. But there is an invisible root cause for this constant underlying depression. We are, quite literally, spiritually starved. Just as the body needs calories and the intellect needs information, the inner self requires the actual labor of self-development and self-recognition to feel satisfied. When we ignore the difficult work of looking inward and evolving, the spirit lacks the basic fuel it needs to function. We block this nourishment because we are terrified of our own flaws. When we look at our shortcomings, we feel a crushing sense of guilt and shame, and we mistakenly believe that punishing ourselves with these feelings proves we have a strong moral compass. There are actually two entirely distinct kinds of shame. One is a catalyst for growth. The other, which the vast majority of humanity defaults to, is quietly destroying us from the inside out. Until we learn to correctly diagnose which kind of shame we are carrying, we will remain completely cut off from the exact spiritual food we need to be fulfilled. The right kind of shame is constructive. It is a realistic acknowledgement of our current imperfections, paired with a willingness to slowly, step by step, work toward changing them. The wrong kind of shame operates as a paralyzing guilt complex. When you have this type of shame, your emotions essentially say, "I am hopelessly bad, and nothing can be done about it." Wallowing in that self-pity might look like humility, but it hides a heavy paradox. Harboring this paralyzing guilt is actually a manifestation of deep, unrecognized pride. It is prideful because you are emotionally refusing to accept yourself as you actually are. Your ego demands immediate perfection, and because you aren't there yet, you become angry and refuse to make the realistic effort to build up from where you currently stand. By placing yourself higher than the efforts you've actually taken, you retreat into a fantasy. This arrogant refusal to accept your present reality completely halts any genuine self-development. Losing self-respect, we demand love from others. To secure it, we construct a mask to hide our true selves. But validation of a fake personality generates profound isolation. Thinking if they only knew they wouldn't love me, we despise ourselves more, restarting the cycle. The more effort we put into hiding our imperfections to gain human connection, the more we guarantee our own loneliness. Breaking this cycle requires a baseline shift in how we view our own worth. You do not have to be perfect in order to respect yourself. You only need to adopt a brutally honest, constructive attitude toward your current imperfections. But the ego sets a hidden trap. If we examine our behaviors closely, we find there are certain faults we actually cherish or take secret pride in. As long as we are emotionally in love with those flaws, overcoming them is impossible. You can only start rebuilding after you have torn down the false edifice you've constructed for the outside world. That wall of pretense has to be dismantled before any real, stable psychological foundation can be laid. Letting go of the desperate desire to appear better than you actually are, even in your own eyes, is the mandatory, non-negotiable first step to genuine spiritual growth. This brings us to what the text calls the law of brotherhood. It is the specific, terrifying action of opening up and revealing your deeply hidden faults to a trusted, qualified person. The mechanics of this cure are immediate. The very act of risking humility and showing yourself exactly as you are shatters the cycle. You are actively choosing reality over pretense. In that moment of vulnerability, even if the other person doesn't offer a single piece of advice, you experience a profound spiritual relief. Your starved spirit finally receives the nourishment it has been crying out for. True spiritual victory isn't found in a flawless life. It is found in the courage to stumble, to try again, and to be seen exactly as you are. Your self-worth is ultimately measured by your truthfulness, not your flawlessness.